Welcome everyone, and a very special welcome to my dear guests today, Paul Timmers, Dirk Oldenburg, and Georg Sörenci. Welcome to beautiful Vienna. So, you developed WeltWert as a new consulting approach, and I'm wondering what exactly is WeltWert, and especially interesting, why did you introduce WeltWert now? So maybe...
Yeah, look at the words WeltWert. So the first word is world. And in this world today, we see an enormous increase of geopolitical conflict, geo-economic competition, and we have been thinking about hybridization that is happening. So we see hybrid attacks on society almost every week. We're thinking about how can consultancy react to these fast things happening in the world. And we came up with a new approach, a method called co-navigation.
Okay, I see. But I'm wondering, there are a lot of others out there that try to deal with these new geopolitical conflicts and necessities. So what exactly makes you different? Maybe Georg?
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. That's a good question. In a nutshell, we are agile and fast. And the combination of our overlapping competencies and of our complementary competencies, that makes the trick. This is the important combination, which is based on our individual backgrounds from EU lawmaking, from diplomacy, from regulation and consulting. And all this together makes a difference for our clients, because we can help clients to navigate in these foggy environment, which is very complicated. And we are experts in digital technologies and how these technologies are important for the global race for supremacy.
That sounds impressive, and indeed is a very interesting combination of experience and activities of all of you. So I can see that being small makes you very agile. But I'm interested in you also claiming that you are fast. So could you maybe elaborate a bit further on what you mean by fast, Paul?
Yeah, let me give perhaps two ways of answering that. One is, as Georg said, we are bringing together experience from various backgrounds, and we use that experience in order to get to the point and quickly navigate to where you need to be as a client. An example, if you are a startup in Europe, nowadays you would often go for risk capital, for venture capital to the United States, forgetting perhaps about the opportunities that exist in Europe. We help with our insights into those opportunities and the policies behind it so that you quickly also as a startup start using what is possible in Europe. So one way. The other way is about this co-navigation. How do you do that? That means working directly and intensely with our clients, and actually kind of like a top-down analysis and a bottom-up experience coming from your organization and business to bring that together. And then the approach will be, if you do this together, co-navigation, you might compare it to having a mountain guide or a pilot on a ship that helps you to navigate through the fog or the boggy environment that you said just, Georg, in order to get to that destination.
I see. Thanks, Paul, for elaborating on that. And it also ties perfectly with another question I had in my mind. Namely, could you please define a bit the additional value you are claiming to offer as WeltWert?
Yeah.
Maybe Dirk?
Yeah, so that's the second part of the word WeltWert is value. And it's like Paul said and Georg as well. So it's the value that we bring with our expertise and experience but it's also the value of our networks that we can bring in, and in particular the value of the things that you can develop when you work with an organization or when you work with people from a company who exactly know what they are doing, but in working together you can create more things, you can create better insights than doing it apart.
Thank you. Can you give a bit more of examples what you mean by these threats and disruptions of the current times that you mentioned a lot in your elaborations? Could you maybe give some more examples?
Yes. We are confronted today, and when I say we, I mean our society, our companies, our organizations, even individuals. We are confronted with a very diverse set of different threats. And these are coming from natural disasters. We see that all the floodings, landslides, wildfires, and so on, but also man-made. And man-made in the sense that it can be failures, human failures, or it can be sabotage. So acts of sabotage to sever the infrastructure, digital infrastructure, power infrastructure, and that is extremely dangerous. And on top comes disinformation campaigns, which are threatening democracy, elections, and so on and so on. So this is a whole set of different things which people, organizations, countries have to cope with.
Thank you, Georg. Those are really telling examples. And these examples are especially telling for the private sector and what assistance you could offer to companies that are working with or engaged in somehow technologies. But I'm also interested in if there's some additional value you could provide to governments or institutions or even non-governmental institutions. Could you please give a bit of an intuition on your assistance here, Paul?
Yeah, so governments, let's hope they are good in geopolitics, but nowadays governments also need to be really good in understanding technology and how the two are having an interplay, they relate to each other. So take the example of semiconductors. You may be a country that is involved in semiconductors, but you're also involved in a big geopolitical battle around technology and advanced semiconductors between the US and China. So you need to know how do you go about. Or another example, we are all excited about AI, and AI will make a business much more productive and give new products. But AI is also important for governments, for themselves, but also to have an AI infrastructure in their country for the future of their country. And there too, they need to understand how technology and geopolitics go together. So in a certain sense, you might almost see it as a government, you don't want to be caught out. You don't want to be on that crossing of technology and geopolitics and be sitting duck and be the victim. No, rather you need to take your own destiny in your own hands.
Thank you, Paul. That sounds really interesting and moreover really important, especially in the current times. So could you please give a bit more of the examples of technological developments that you think that have an influence on geopolitics? So maybe Georg, do you want to have some more examples for us?
Yeah, Katie, one of the most important examples in my view is satellite technologies. They matured over time massively. We have now so-called low Earth orbit constellations in place, which provide ubiquitous connectivity globally. And there will be an additional feature available very soon, which is partly already available, and that's satellite direct to device, direct on our mobile phone. For not only for emergency, also for communication. And that offers new cooperation models between telecom operators, which are working based on their terrestrial infrastructure, and the satellite operators. And that's important for bridging connectivity in case of disasters, but also for many, many other applications. So this is a new wave of things which are coming and will have a transformative power.
Thank you, Georg.
Yeah, we could talk about many technologies because there are so many that play a role. Internet of Things, cloud, AI, we already mentioned. But one of the most advanced things that we are talking about with our clients is actually quantum technologies. Because we think that even if it is perhaps not right tomorrow, but it's still going to be nearby, that quantum technologies, especially in combination with AI, can play a very important role, for example, for the protection of your critical infrastructures.
Thank you. Thank you for your elaborations. I think we got a very good impression of WeltWert and the mission and activities on consulting you're claiming. So let me have one final question to all of you. Namely, what is your advice, and now comes the hard part, in just one sentence, you would give a company that feels it needs to do a bit more to be prepared for what's coming next? So maybe start with you, Paul. One sentence.
Nice question, Kati. So in one sentence, I would say work with us so that you make geopolitical awareness a key indicator for your company or your organization.
Yeah.
Very important. Thank you. Dirk?
I would say develop the competence to spot the small signals that indicate a trend that in the end of the day really, really matters to you.
On point, Dirk. Thank you. Last but not least, Georg?
And my advice is stress test your organization regularly and make scenario exercises on an ongoing basis to be prepared for the unknown future.
Thank you. Also an excellent point. So let me close this round. Thank you to all of you, and I wish you all the best for your future and your future client project work. Let's see what it holds for us. Thank you.
Thank you too.